Welcome to the Word of Gab podcast. I am Gab, your mid-20s fun tita with a resting bitch face. This podcast is all about adulting lessons and stories in my journey to being a responsible adult while fostering healthy relationships, spreading positivity and confidence, and enjoying coffee. No pressure. You can do anything as you listen to this pod. You can work, do laundry, wash the dishes, or maybe just chill with me while you take a sip from your favorite drink. So, let the stories begin. Welcome to the Word of Gab podcast, and thank you so much for listening to my previous episode. And if you haven't, please do. Please listen to my past episodes. I'm pretty sure you might get a lot of some stuff there. And if not, well, thanks for listening. Anyway, I mentioned last episode because that inspired today's episode, and it's about the joy it gives in fulfilling our childhood dreams. It's funny because when we were younger, we always wanted something, to be someone important. It's like, for me, I wanted to be a doctor or a teacher. Some people wanted to be an astronaut. Some people want to be a firefighter or a policeman, and that's fine. But eventually, of course, as we grow older, those change. We don't have that same vision anymore. And maybe that's because we've seen what reality is, and somehow that can actually trim down your dreams. It's like you would want dreams that are easily attainable than those that you think are so far away from you. It's funny because when I'm listening to podcasts and I'm also editing them for some of our clients, and I keep hearing about how you're already doing what you were meant to be doing since you were a kid. I was thinking about that, and I remember when I was a kid I really love arts and crafts. Like, I love it. Like, my mom would be so mad because she would go home and she would see the walls or the furniture completely doodled with a permanent marker. Or if not those, my whole body plus my clothes. I don't know, maybe I wanted some tattoos, or maybe I wanted to be an artist or whatever. But my mom always gives me this piece of paper to draw on. I have coloring books, but there's just this joy when I draw on floors or on walls or even on my skin. It's just something I'm so happy about. And looking at it now, I have 6 tattoos in total. All of them I actually designed. So maybe I was really led to this point. I'm actually planning to learn how to do tattoos maybe next year or the next or the following years. As long as I'm alive, I can learn how to do anything. So it's okay. We got time. And then I'm doing clay. If you're not familiar with my works, you can visit my Instagram. It's mkng_crafts, and that's where I post most of my clay creations. It started with earrings, but I'm slowly transitioning into more accessories like rings and necklaces, keychains, pendants, things like that. But when I was younger, I remember when I was in grade two. Is it two? Yeah, I think it's grade two. I was always sat in front because I have bad eyesight since I was a kid. I was wearing glasses, so I'm always in front of the first row, like directly in front of the teacher. And during our break time or recess, I have my clay with me and I play with it. And I don't know if it's an early sign of ADHD or whatever, but while I was doing clay, I was so fixated at that, I didn't even notice my teacher was already talking. This is such a traumatic event for me that I still remember it now. That my English teacher that time was Teacher Julie. Is it Teacher Julie? No, I don't even remember her name, but I know she was pretty and she wasn't fully Filipino. Yeah, I think she's a mix of something. Anywho, I remember her, and she was really good at English. That's why I remember her. And then she saw me playing with clay while she was talking. And of course, that's very disrespectful. I'm not listening. I'm not even writing down notes. I'm just playing with clay. And in my table, I have all of my clay stuff and my handkerchief. You know the handkerchief for kids? It's those with cartoon characters in front and just a plain white at the back, and it feels like a towel, like a hand towel, but it's smaller and it's square. I like those, and I had those a lot when I was younger. So it was just there on my table. And she confiscated everything. Like she cleared my table, including my handkerchief. So the traumatic part is this. So back then, we weren't really using a whiteboard. So we're using a blackboard and chalk. The problem there is I have asthma and I'm very sensitive to dust and chalk. And chalk would be one of the main allergens or the main triggers of my asthma. And then this teacher couldn't find the eraser. And then she saw my hanky, my handkerchief. And guess what she did? She used it as a fucking eraser. How fun for a kid with asthma and a strict mother who would scold at her for losing another handkerchief. So I cried. I really cried with a lot of tears. And I told my mom what happened. The next day, my mom was at our school and she was so mad at my teacher. Yeah, but that was super traumatic. So I think those tiny things that makes us feel like what we're doing is actually a bad thing is the reason why we end up losing our innocence and our curiosity. For example, as a girl, you can't really run with boys a lot. Like you can't play with them a lot. You can't play with robots. You can't play with action figures. It's often like that, especially during our time. You can only play with Barbie dolls, kitchen tools, whatever, like those toys. But I never really liked those because it wasn't as interactive as those for boys, which is I'm lucky to have boys as brothers. Well, brothers are boys, but I mean as siblings. I'm lucky to have my brothers because they have toys that I can play with. Because they always take off. I don't know. My brother, my kuya, my older brother has this weird fascination in breaking my Barbie's necks. So what they do is they remove the head. And if it's an original Barbie, you can't really put it back on the same way because there's like a ball on top of that. So when you put it back on, the neck is so short. It's like your Barbie doesn't have a neck. It's like head and then shoulders right away. So it looks freaking weird at that time because Barbies have long necks and now she doesn't. I don't know. My kuya was a weird kid. So what I wanted to talk about is that right now, I think it's not just me, but it's mostly the people my age, around 20s, mid 20s, even in your 30s. Actually, even as you grow older, we are trying to make peace with our inner child. So, for example, in my case, I was deprived of the clay. My creativity through clay. I remember I was even making dinosaurs and roses. Like I had technique when I was a young kid in creating clay figures. I was the best. And that ended and it just came back like last year or this year. No, actually last year. And right now, I'm so happy when I'm doing it, and I'm so fixated at it that I could do it the whole day and not feel a thing. Like, I don't feel hungry, I don't feel tired, but I think that's a bad thing because at the end of the day, I do feel hungry. I do feel tired, like 10 times more because I was ignoring it and focusing on clay. But the point there is, we're trying to make peace with our younger selves. That's why the story I told last episode, the one about having a Christmas tree, it's actually me making peace with my inner child. Like, I wanted me to feel like it's okay. It didn't happen before, but you can make it happen now. And you don't even need to be so sorry about it. Because even with other people, you see them buying toys, buying shoes, buying bags, buying whatever they want, doing whatever they want. It may sound childish to some. It's like when you see me blowing bubbles at our rooftop, you would say, that's one weird girl in her 20s, mid 20s, blowing bubbles and giggling like a kid alone. Yes, I do it alone. It's just so fun. And it gives you that spark again. Like, being an adult can be so fucking draining. I don't want to lose my inner child. As much as I want to make peace with it by giving myself gifts, giving myself stuff, or making myself experience things that I wasn't able to experience before, I still don't want to lose my inner child because I was no, I actually can't remember how curious I was, but I remember being creative. Like, I made up games for the whole street because it was just one street and we were all friends there. The kids my age are usually, well, I was the eldest, so whatever game I make up, they have to play it because I'm the eldest. So, but it was fun. Nobody got hurt. We're still alive. We're still all alive. All my childhood friends are still talking to me. Well, not all of them. I stopped talking to some. That's another story, but yeah. But it was fun. I was very creative and I wasn't really scared to express. To some extent, it is a flaw because I was too honest. Brutally honest. Going back, I wanted to keep my inner child because it just adds joy to your life. It's those type of happiness that you can't just buy, or it's just something that you have to have an open eye and a grateful heart to experience. That's why I wanted to ask you, how do you keep your inner child alive? Because in my case, I just let myself experience the things that I used to love and still love doing. For example, I like dancing. I'm planning to do Zumba again, or maybe just dance here. Bubbles. As I've mentioned, I like blowing bubbles. Like, I don't know, there's just something so fun about them. And I do it when I'm super stressed, and I think that's my new, what do you call that? I think that's my new coping mechanism now, is blowing bubbles when I'm too stressed. What else? Getting tattoos, because I used to draw on myself a lot. Dyeing my hair, I like doing that too. Painting my nails. I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother, my lola, my mama, I call her mama. My mama Esther had those, the kikai kits or the pouches that just have um a lot of nail stuff in them. It was like nail polish, nail cutter, nail file, pusher, whatever it is in there. But when I was a kid, I tried it all out. So I got an ass whooping, of course, from my mom when she when she saw me on the floor inside my mama's room. I was painting my nails, and of course, I wasn't painting it along the lines. I wasn't that great. I was a kid. I don't have that skill yet, of course. It's not yet developed. It's normal. So it's everywhere. And we had to throw away around 10 bottles of nail polish because apparently it dries out when you don't cover it. And I didn't know that when I was around 4 or 5. Yeah, and I was like, painting my nails and then painting the floor and maybe my dress too, but who knows? Well, my Lola loves me so much. I'm pretty sure she didn't get mad at me. It's just my mom. My mom is my mortal enemy when I was younger. So I want you to reminisce on the things that you like to do as a kid. So if you are feeling lost right now, it's a great way to actually go back and really see your roots. Like, what are the things that you enjoy most when you were a kid? Do you like singing? Do you like dancing? Are you the type of kid who just performs at every party when there are guests? You're in the middle of the living room just singing, performing, whatever it is. Or are you the type of kid who just likes to draw, dress up, fix things, ruin things by and then fixing it, or maybe just ruining it because you're so curious? Maybe those things that you do when you were younger, maybe those will guide you into what you can be in the future or now. Because I firmly believe that when we were younger, we already knew what we wanted to be or what we're gonna be. And we started doing it right away. Just along the way as we grew up, we lost it. Maybe that's why we feel so lost as we go through this adulting phase in our lives. Maybe you'll find yourself again by making peace with your inner child. Make sure to take care of that inner child, and it will take care of you. It would lead you places you've never imagined. It will lead you to places you never thought you would see. Anyway, that's it, and I hope you had fun listening to some of my anecdotes when I was younger, all my quirkiness. Well, that's barely the surface. I'm super quirky and I'm a weird kid, so deal with it. I hope this episode inspires you to take a look back and observe or reminisce, not observe, or reminisce what are the things that you love the most when you were a kid. And I love to know too. So if you want to share, you can share it with me through my Instagram. It's at mkng_crafts. And also my clay creations are there. Also, you can follow me on Facebook. It's Word of Gab podcast. All of this would be on the show notes. And I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me, and I want to hear your thoughts, so feel free to message me on Instagram at mkng_crafts or on Facebook Word of Gab podcast. You can follow, like, and share. As always, I want to remind you that when someone tries to dim your light, blind them. See you next time. Bye!